And Tego, I've been busy this week. I helped 2 home sellers get their home under contract. So I represented the sellers, and both of those sellers had offers that we were negotiating. And I was warning them once we got an accepted offer in email to confirm what I told them. I said, this is the first negotiation. I just want to remind you that we still have repairs, which I always consider our second negotiation, a repair request period, sort of.
So let's talk about that. So in our purchase agreement in New Mexico, we have a standard purchase agreement that most realtors, well, all realtors use. Most people, even if they're not a realtor, if they're just a licensed broker, use the same form. In that, there's a whole section that spells out the duties of the seller, the duties, I'm going to say duties and responsibilities of the buyer as well, because the buyer does have some responsibility in doing their due diligence and doing their inspections, correct? And in
Totally.
that section, what does it kind of lay out? Do you want to get into that, like the dates and so on?
Yeah, it tells you, that you have this many days or time frame to do your due diligence. You have this deadline that you need to object, basically, and say, from my own inspection or from the inspection reports, we would like to request the seller to take care of these items. So then it goes to the seller to look at that and decide how they want to reply.
And that's the second negotiation you're
Right.
talking about. So the
Right.
buyer does the inspections, they get their reports, they talk with their their broker. But their broker puts a request together, sends it over to the seller's broker, and then the seller gets to look at that. And again, that's decision. It's like the seller says, okay, I will do this, I won't do this, I'll do this, but I won't do this, or I won't do anything, or I'll give you credit and money, right? So that's the negotiation.
Right. That's a big one, because the seller is now 2 weeks into having their house under contract. They're now making plans to move. They're now packing. They're now focusing on all the details of moving, which is a lot. And they have this inspection repair request, and they're going, oh my gosh, how am I going to find resources? And I don't have the money to prepay these people until my house sells, or it's overwhelming, right?
And many times the seller is caught off guard because they think their house is perfect. They don't recognize, some things that they just haven't thought about. They haven't been on the roof in 2 years, and the inspector calls out some roof issues.
Right. So it can be overwhelming. They don't all have this handyman skills like you do, Tego, to just knock out a punch list and repair things. They might need to get bids to find out how much will it cost them to fix something that's being requested. And all of that takes time and energy for them to do. They reply and say, hey, we'll do this. A lot of times the seller says, I'll take care of everything, or I'll offer you money at closing instead, and you can take care of those things. It's a negotiation, and we get to agreement, and we put that agreement to paper, and then we move on and work our way till closing. However, if the buyer gets all those inspections and they go, you know what, I'm not quite up to this house. I don't think I want to buy this house. I'm concerned, right? They have the opportunity to say, never mind, I'm not going to buy your house. And they can choose to terminate the contract.
And that's one of the terms in this section in our purchase agreement. And again, if you're a buyer or a seller, you should be making sure you understand that. Ask your realtor what this means and how that process works. It's really important. Okay, so we went into the details on that, but let's just talk to buyers right now, okay? Why do home inspections matter?
Well,
Right.
I think for buyers, it's important to assess what you're getting into, right? What's going on with the house. Even if all you're doing is understanding the mechanicals, where's the shutoff valve for the water if there's a leak so you know where the master shutoff is? Where are your cleanouts for your sewer line? And how do I change the filters in my furnace? A lot of those things you learn by attending a home inspection.
So you're learning about the home system, the components, the maintenance needs maybe, right?
Right.
You're learning just a condition of age of all the systems in the house, for example.
For sure. So home buyers need to know those things, and they need to know that they're up for it.
Thanks for watching the video all the way to the end. We appreciate you. And please click subscribe. We'll keep you updated on what's going on with real estate in the Albuquerque area and New Mexico, and of course, across the entire country. Have a great one.